Monkeys. Everywhere monkeys. These are squirrel monkeys, and they usually travel in large troops.
Squirrel monkeys really do seem to look and act the part of squirrels. As a matter of fact, you could probably mistake them for a squirrel at a distance. There was a time, of course, when there were monkeys in South America, but all the squirrels were in North America up until the land bridge formed. Then the squirrels came down into the Amazon, and you can find a few there. This is a woolly monkey. It's a bigger monkey than a squirrel monkey. My first encounter with a woolly monkey was in Central America, and there one threw a stick at me from a tree and actually was able to hit me. They are not the biggest monkeys in South America. The howlers are bigger, and they're not big by old world standards. They do have prehensile tails. These particular woolly monkeys that you're looking at here used to be pets, and that's why they're coming down out of the trees. We've got some food for them. You'll see a banana from time to time, and that's what the woolly monkeys are coming for. They will in fact get right into the boat there with you. They're not the least bit afraid of us. I'm a little afraid of the woolly monkeys, however. They remind me of the macaques that I ran into in Indonesia. You remember the macaque that stole my glasses and tore them up in front of me, so I'm a little bit nervous about getting too close to them because woolly monkeys will also steal glasses. These monkeys really don't need a free handout. They can get plenty of food from the rainforest if they want to work for it, but they're like everybody else. They're a little bit lazy. It's as though somebody downtown were handing out free dollar bills. You'd probably go down there and pick up a few, even if you had a good job. Well, the monkeys are doing essentially the same thing. They're just picking up a little extra food, a little bit of free food at that. Only New World monkeys have prehensile tails. Old World monkeys, their tails are always entirely limp. When I was in Africa, my guide told me that he thought that monkeys hanging by their tails was just a myth. He didn't think that they ever did that. But I explained to him that in the New World monkeys, some of them do. The woolly monkeys here have very strong prehensile tails, but not all New World monkeys have prehensile tails. After a while, these monkeys have had about as much free food as they can take, and they start to slow down, although they never really stop asking for more food. They seem to be pretty greedy, actually. One thing that's certain is that South America has a lot more types of monkeys than simply squirrel monkeys and woolly monkeys. In fact, they're all pretty closely related, though.
Everywhere we went, we had an audience of monkeys, like this little brown and white capuchin or ring-tailed monkey. Amazon monkeys don't grow so much bigger in size as they do in numbers. They were everywhere. Here's a sight. A marmoset going on a long journey. He probably happened to be on that branch when it broke off of the tree. Now he may not get back to the shore for 1,000 miles downriver. That's one way animal species get dispersed over wide areas.
Monkeys made their first appearance on Earth in Asia, maybe 50 million years ago or so, and they spread rapidly into Africa. But there's always been a question: how did monkeys get to South America? Now, in the 1950s and 1960s, they came up with the floating continents theory, you know, where South America and Africa and Australia used to be all part of Gondwana land. And initially, that looked like it might explain how the monkeys got from Africa, at least, to South America. However, now we know more about molecular timing. We know that the monkeys should have gotten to South America maybe 40 million years ago. And if that is the case, and our understanding of geography and the drift is correct, the Atlantic Ocean was between South America and Africa. In other words, because of continental drift, already South America had separated from Africa, and there wasn't any way for monkeys to simply walk from Africa to South America. So that brought up the question of, how did they get here? Well, one of the things that you think about is that every year the Atlantic Ocean gets wider and wider. And so perhaps the ocean was quite narrow at the time. But estimates are that it was still quite a journey to go from Africa to South America. As a matter of fact, it might have taken as much as 60 days if you just relied on the currents between Africa and South America. Now, 60 days is an awfully long time for a small monkey to live without water and food for as far as that goes. So we have to think about the possibility that there's some other agency involved. And one of the possibilities is rafting, but not entirely depending on the currents. One of the ways that could be, and we know that this happens from time to time in Africa and other places, is that large masses of vegetation are ejected out of rivers especially during storms and things like that. And if that's the case, sometimes we see that the trees in those rafts are actually upright, so that theoretically at least they could operate as sails. Now, if that's the case, perhaps the trip from Africa to South America could, as a result of a storm, take as little as 14 or 15 days. And a small monkey could survive that much time. Rafting was a very popular way of explaining how animals distributed. Alfred Russel Wallace, who was one of the founders of evolution, used that to explain how lemurs got to Madagascar, because Madagascar had separated from Africa a long time before there were any lemurs. So it is possible that the same thing is true of monkeys. So here's the world 40 million years ago. That red dot in Africa represents where the fossils of that ancient monkey that's similar to the monkey in South America were located. And the distance between Africa and South America is much closer than it would be on a modern map. And then the red dot dot in South America is where the recent fossils were found of that same type monkey. Last year, monkey fossils were discovered in Peru, in the Amazon, just a few hundred miles south of here. They're the oldest monkey fossils in South America, and they're about 35, 36 million years old, something like that. And these monkeys bore a striking resemblance to very similar monkeys in Africa. So we believe that this particular species probably is the founder of most of the species that are in South America. This ancient monkey was very much like the modern titty monkey, which you see here in this scene. Now, sources of protein are hard to come by in the Amazon. One of the major sources of protein for indigenous people traditionally has been the monkey. The way to get a monkey, the way to kill him, is usually with a blowgun.
Their weapon is the blowgun, and the missile they shoot is a long dart tipped with the famous paralyzing poison curare. Kapok is rolled onto the tail of the dart to make it fit snugly into the tube. He shapes this to fit with his lips. The hunter spots his target, aims, and whacko.
Curare is made from the famous poison dart frog or poison arrow frog, and so we're looking for one right now. Each tribe has its own method of preparing the poison, and they guard those formulas seriously.
Oh, there he is. I see him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's in that little segment of wood. He's little. Oh my gosh, they're so tiny. Jim, if you want him, you gotta come over by me.
This frog is a male, and he's taking care of his tadpole. Normally they would have those tadpoles in bromeliads where there would be a little bit of water, but there's a shortage of those, and so in this area they have taken to putting little plastic devices up on trees to take the place of the bromeliads, and the poison arrow frogs leave their tadpoles in that water and feed them there. Oh, that was good. That's good. That's fine. If there isn't enough food for the tadpole, the male will get the female to lay another egg in the pool, and this egg will be unfertilized, and the tadpole will eat it and get some nourishment. Poison arrow frogs make their poison by eating ants and collecting up their venom. These happen to be leafcutter ants, and the leaves are not eaten by the ants, they're fed to the fungus, and so the fungus becomes the source of the food of the ants. Poison dart frogs that have never eaten ants are safe to handle because they have no poison. These ants happen to be army ants, and they're returning from a successful campaign that is termite larvae that they're bringing back to their nest.
It looks like termites to me. This larvae.
I'm afraid I can't tell the difference.
Yeah, but with the photo you can.
off of what? Big damn ants. Go!